It is August 29th, 2023, and this is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, NXT edition. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by NYC Demon Diva Issa and Mr. Alfred Konuwa tonight to talk about everything going on in the world of professional wrestling through the lens of tonight's NXT. The build-up in NXT to No Mercy. Very exciting.
Long build.
Heritage Cup. Lots going on.
Yeah.
They're doing the lowercase G1.
Yes.
I'm glad you guys finally decided to show up for work.
I did decide to show up to work. It's my farewell tour, so
I know it's and I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine through the rain.
Leave the memories alone.
Oh God.
I was in Denver last week. I saw Raj Giri.
What's up,
Some
Raj?
guy.
Sounds like somebody that I used to know.
Yes. I had dinner with Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson, and it was a good time. And now I'm back.
Thanks for the flex.
How much time did Eric Bischoff spend talking about AEW?
Not very much. We talked. I mean, it was interesting. The funny part was I went on a rant, and I hadn't had anything to drink, but there I am ranting about AEW, and I told Eric Bischoff what makes a good wrestling show. And I said the perfect wrestling show is the Muppets. It's when it's like the Larry Sanders Show and you're watching a show about a wrestling company. And to his credit, he did say, I have never thought of it that way before.
Wow. Well, he should have, because that's absolutely right.
Yes. But no, we didn't really talk about AEW much. We talked about like AOL Time Warner, just a variety. I mean, it was like a variety of small talk. It was nice. Conrad and I had more productive conversation just about the business. And yeah, it was a good time, and it was good to see Raj.
Sounds like a wild time. What night was this? What night of Raj were we dealing with? Thursday night Raj, Friday night Raj?
This was Raj on a Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Okay. So kind of like a 7 out of 10, not going full hard.
Yeah, he was good though. He was on his home turf though, in Denver. So yeah, it's good times. But no, I missed you both. And Al, for the news, Friday night is going to be your last show with Issa and I.
Yes, I will be leaving the Wrestling Inc. podcast with a heavy heart. Unfortunately, I really don't like doing like long emotional goodbyes or anything like that. I understand Issa is hiding her screen at the moment, but I will be leaving the Wrestling Inc. podcast to pursue my thriving YouTube channel and comedy career and other outside pursuits at the moment. It's been a great time here at the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I love the platform that I've been on, and more importantly, the personal connections I've made with all of you. It's been great. And this isn't goodbye. I'll see you later. I will be back after Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns on WrestleMania 40. Kevin said I can come back to that podcast.
See you never. You still owe me Applebee's.
I do. That is still happening. Me leaving this podcast will not break that deal. I will honor that deal.
Okay, good.
Well, there you go. Well, for the penultimate time, Alfred, before we talk about NXT, what's going on in the news?
What isn't going on in the news, Glenn? Let's talk about our favorite cousin Phil, CM Punk. Of course, for the uninitiated, there's going to be a lot of speculation here, a lot of gossip from the tabloid wrestling media. There's like 18 sides to this story, okay? So we don't know what's true. We don't know what's not true. We're going to give you the TLDR in terms of what's going on with CM Punk. What are the latest updates? The TLDR, too long, didn't read. CM Punk got in a fight with Jungle Boy at All In shortly before his entrance. It may or may not have been one of the reasons that the show started 10 minutes late. CM Punk and Jungle Boy's issues stem from Jungle Boy's use of real glass. Of course, during his match against Hook during the 0-hour pre-show, they used legitimate glass on a limousine, and Jungle Boy looked into the camera and Jungle Jack said, "Real glass, cry me a river." Many assume and know that was directed at CM Punk, who allegedly did not want him using glass.
Honestly, I popped for that. Before we found out what was going on, as I'm watching the pre-show, huge pop for Jungle Boy doing that. I thought it was fun. Apparently, it wasn't.
Jungle Boy's talking his stuff, and CM Punk, as he does with anybody who has a problem with him, he's like a human Twitter account, so he gets in a fight with Jungle Boy. There are reports that Miro had a problem with CM Punk, and they had words. CM Punk may or may not have chewed out Tony Khan. CM Punk may or may not have threatened to quit the company. CM Punk may or may not be suspended along with Jack Perry. I will give a shout out to Nick Hausman, Chicago's own Nick Hausman, who's got his boots to the ground and does have a tricky relationship with CM Punk, who did report that CM Punk did not receive proper communication with AEW when he arrived at the Heathrow airport. He had a taxi did not show up. The number that he texted for the AEW driver bounced back. And so now there is the CM Punk wave is saying that CM Punk is being done dirty by the Young Bucks in AEW. There was a travel coordinator conspiracy that you could look into on your own. Basically, CM Punk still has problems with AEW. And I know every time we talk about CM Punk, which seems like a weekly thing on this podcast, you guys say that you're over it and you don't want to talk about it anymore. And I completely understand that because this has been going on for about a year now. But that's where you and I differ because I love talking about Cousin Phil and CM Punk AEW drama. And before I throw it to you guys, I just want to make a reminder that right now on Pro Wrestling Bits, my Thrive YouTube channel, I did release a video on CM Punk's suspension. I do have a whole playlist on all of CM Punk's antics with AEW, 18 videos and counting. And I will be coming out with a documentary on CM Punk's AEW issues. I don't know whether I want to release it within the next couple of weeks or when CM Punk's inevitably fired or quits. We get the ending.
Save that for Sunday.
Yeah, you know? I want to wait until CM Punk maybe ultimately flames out somehow. I don't know how this is going to end, but I feel like it's going to be a very exciting for whatever party. It's going to be a very exciting, explosive ending. But of course, CM Punk, AEW. I'll throw it to you guys in a second, but I did want to bring this to your attention. Another news story that we'll just throw in there. AEW Collision had 552,000 viewers, so up over 500,000. We like that. Down a little bit in the demo. But AEW Collision this weekend is in the death spot of all death spots. It is up against the return of college football. USC kicking off this season with Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman. USC is going to win the national title. It's going to be primetime college football and WWE Payback at the same damn time. So if CM Punk is indeed suspended, we're going into Collision versus college football and WWE pay-per-view. And it might not, forget being the lowest rated Collision of all time, this might be the lowest rated television program in AEW history. But starting with you, Issa, what are our thoughts about CM Punk and the latest drama he has with AEW and just about everybody in their locker room?
I think the CM Punk fan fiction that we saw on the timeline today was incredible reads. There was a lot of different versions. I can't get over CM Punk having to take the train and getting lost. Like, he's from a city. Like, I get the whole drama. Like, oh my God, AEW didn't have anybody. Like, yeah, do you expect somebody to be? It's AEW, like they're not known for being organized. but like the fact that he went on to get lost and he's like, aren't you from a city? Because I'm pretty sure once you lived in a big city, I don't know, I can figure out my way any city that I visit. So you have a lot of wrestling fans that that flew into London for the first time that seem to find their way around, but CM Punk got lost. Oh, how tragic.
In a city where they speak the same language.
Yeah, no. They don't speak Chicago or whatever the hell it is that they speak.
Like the Amazing Race.
Also, there's just something so comical. There's one of the versions out of the 30 that are out there that I read that I can't even say it with a straight face, but he said that Jungle Boy said, do something about it. And if Jungle Boy tries to step up to me and say, do something about it, I would just bust out laughing. Like, I wouldn't even choke him out. I would just laugh, like, being like, what's all 90 pounds of you gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I guess Jungle Boy had bigger balls than what I anticipated. That's the first thing I said when he pulled that move on the pre-show. I was like, well, Jungle Boy's got some balls on him, because I thought maybe they had squared it out. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe they square away, and because that's the thing with AEW. They use this backstage drama so much, and they make it like put it into storylines that you don't even know what's happening when. But it just feels like, I feel like it's across the board. We all know that CM Punk is sensitive, so I feel like if your drama was with him, don't use it on your storyline. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't use it on your match. Don't say anything. Don't, you know? But I don't know. I think that suspending him and not having him part of All Out, it could be finally some kind of sign of repercussion for your actions from Tony Khan, because I do think that it's not the smartest business decision, you know what I mean, to do All Out. But All Out has always been in Chicago. That's another thing that's driving me crazy. A lot of people are saying, how can you not? And it's like, okay, All Out has always been in Chicago since before CM Punk coming back was even a thought. So it's like, who cares if he's gonna be there or not? It would have been there regardless whether CM Punk was here or not. But I do think that if the suspension is true, because last I heard before I went live is that he's not really suspended. If the suspension is true, then maybe it is a sign that we're finally gonna start kind of like taking matters and like doing things. But I think it's a shame that AEW just had such a big show, such a historic night, and this is what everybody's talking about.
Just if only there was a way that these two men, if only they had a forum, a venue, some way they could settle their grievances in some size, sort of organized combat of some sort. I mean,
that's not how it works with CM Punk, Glenn.
If AEW's smart, if they're not suspended, they got to do this match at All Out.
He'll sue you and your mom. Ask Cole Cabana.
They have to do this at All Out. I mean, Alfred, they've slept on so many opportunities with him. And they stepped all over their own pop, AEW. This should have been their crowning moment of triumph, the biggest paid attendance for a professional wrestling event in history. And everyone wanted to talk about CM Punk and this backstage fight and what happened.
Yeah.
Like, if they can't turn this into a storyline for this pay-per-view that's had almost no build,
they will not. I can guarantee you this will not be a storyline. I don't even know if we'll see CM Punk again. Who knows what's going to happen coming out of this podcast?
There's no if there's no collision. They might as well just make that the Ring of Honor show if Punk is out.
I would love to see them duke it out. I thought you were going to say that they should fight at Raw Underground, which I personally
you could do. You could set up the Raw. You could bring. What if Shane O'Mac debuts it All Out with the Raw Underground set, and that's where CM Punk and Jack Perry have a shoot UFC fight? I think Jack Perry could take him.
Yeah, Jack Perry would have a shot if they got to go into their training camps for a couple of months. But the thing that's
Jack Perry ain't got no shot around anybody.
I mean, I think
CM Punk.
After seeing two fights of CM Punk losing to a journalist who was high and losing to Mickey Gall, who is, God bless Mickey Gall, but has turned out to not really be all that great of a fighter, I think Jack Perry has a chance. He can land a lucky shot. He can land a left hook. And Cousin Phil, who knows what that jaw's made of? I want to see Jack Perry and CM Punk in a cage, not in the wrestling storyline. Dana White needs to be hitting these guys up.
I mean, this is just so self-destructive that here we are in 2023. All Elite Wrestling in the span of 5-6 years has gone to putting on one of the largest wrestling events in history with the largest paid attendance. And they just cannot. I mean, Tony Khan cannot help himself. 1 step forward, 5 steps back.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that night of All In, because there was that drama at All In at the actual site, but it's funny because there was like a go-home build-up to this drama that overseeded the pay-per-view build-up itself, to where there was a couple of weeks of CM Punk banning people from Collision, and he's getting into arguments with Jungle Boy, and all you heard for that 3-week build-up that was supposed to be their home stretch was about CM Punk.
Do something
and then
with
the payoff happened at the pay-per-view, so there's like this whole alternate universe of CM Punk drama that's lining up with AEW's pay-per-view build. And the thing about All Out this year, I agree with you, Issa. Yes, they do All Out in Chicago every year. The difference here, not only are they doing it in the United Center, which is a much bigger venue than the Now Arena that they used to do it in, but also it's coming a week after All In. So people are really going to have to be convinced to want to buy this pay-per-view. And CM Punk, one of the biggest draws, not being on that pay-per-view 1 week after All In, I think is also going to hurt it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, who doesn't want to see CM Punk put on a mid-performance like he's been doing since he's been back? Can't wait. Take all my money.
Him and Samoa Joe put on a decent match.
Samoa Joe put on a decent match. I had issues with how dominant Samoa Joe was, and then like CM Punk, which I love that he finished with the Pepsi plunge. I actually really appreciated that. A lot of people criticized the GTS that he hit on Samoa Joe in Collision because it did look like ass, and this isn't age. He's always struggled with people that are much heavier, much bigger than him doing the GTS. So I'm glad that he went to a different move to finish Samoa Joe. But I feel like Samoa Joe was so dominant, it felt like the ending was very anticlimactic. Like he just hit this move and then he's done. Like that part I didn't like. But there was a couple of spots there, like when Samoa Joe put him through the table, he actually went through that. Like I was not expecting the visual of that. Like it was fun. But I just haven't seen, oh my God, you have to go back and rewatch this match over and over again from CM Punk since he's been back in this run. I haven't.
Well,
And
CM Punk is, but the one thing that's overrated about CM Punk, he's never been like a great wrestler, especially in terms of technical wrestling. He works his ass off and he knows how to tell a story, and he's a great character and great on promos, but he's always been kind of an awkward athlete who's not like an exceptional technical wrestler. I can't name off the top of my mind too many great technical wrestling matches CM Punk has had. My favorite CM Punk matches are always storyline driven, like his match against John Cena. He had that great match against Jericho that I think is underrated at WrestleMania, and a lot of his matches that are great matches are like storyline driven. So I'm not CM Punk. That's why it's such a big draw, is because of the character, because of the talking in or out of the ring, for whatever reason you want to give. The guy's always been a lightning rod and a draw. So I've never gone to a CM Punk match like I want to see this great technical match. And I don't think the drop off has been that much at 50 years
There
old.
have been matches of CM Punk that are rewatchable, whether it's because of not the match itself, just because of the story. But how many times have people gone back and watched that John Cena Money in the Bank match in 2011? A million times. That match is there for everybody. You know what I mean? Like his match with Brock, his match with The Undertaker. I'm not saying these were technical like masters, but I'm saying these are matches that you will go back and watch. Yeah. And I can't tell you one since it's been with AEW that I will say like, oh my God, I need to go back and rewatch this match because it was awesome. There's a cat fight outside of my window.
What I want to know is how are
CM Punk? I'm gonna name that cat CM Punk.
How are we gonna get through Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, and All Out with so much of the roster CM Punk's friends punching lockers and walls backstage?
We got to make another show. The last time CM Punk was suspended, he came back with a new show. We got to add a fourth show to the AEW programming to keep him away from Miro and Jack Perry. He's got more enemies they got to protect him from. So
they got to bring back AEW Backstage, but this time CM Punk has a body cam that he carries at all times, and we just watch, what happens with CM Punk backstage. That's a show right there.
I mean, and if the not picking him at the airport was
pause.
Yes. If not picking him at the airport, it should have been a rib. The Bucks should have hired Mr. Bean or something to pick him up in a limo and then take him on a wacky misadventure through London.
Oh, that
had GoPros,
The picture of him with the fan in the train is priceless. That was making the rounds around social media yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just
how did AEW Backstage fail so badly? Given how toxic and crazy the backstage environment is, where you're hearing all these stories, and then you see the show, and it is the most tame, fake version of reality television. It's like, I thought this is what we were going to see on AEW Backstage, but they can't even talk about it legally and whatnot. How did they drop the ball with AEW Backstage?
Yeah, bad timing with Cody's exit and everything. I don't know. Crazy, man. It's a weird time. Anything else going on in the wrestling world?
No, that was our news. Just Cousin Phil dominating the headlines as usual. I would like to say keep up the good work, but I don't know whose side. I'm not on anybody's side, okay?
Alfred, if you're leaving this podcast, it should be to have a daily, maybe 3 times daily CM Punk watch.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and just report.
But you have to start Punk watch, instead of Panda watch, you have to be Punk watch.
Yeah.
If I can get a graphic, then I'll think about it.
And just every rumor, every reaction, every theory, every tweet, I think there's something there.
The conspiracy theories have been great with CM Punk, by the way. Some of them do have some legs. I'm not even going to say that I don't believe any of them.
The conspiracy about the travel coordinator is crazy because the person that people are saying is the travel coordinator is the person that plays one of the Young Bucks stand-in on BTE. Mm-hmm. This person is clearly very close to the Young Bucks. So it's did he get sabotaged? But at the same time, while I think it is a shame, it's bro, you're from Chicago. You can find your way around. Now you're being a little extra about it, but that's just, but I get it. There is an expectation, right? And you would assume everybody else got picked up. Everybody else got their stuff sorted out. Why not him? There is another crazy story going around that he freaking started screaming, I hate it here.
Well, I mean,
and he's and he's well, can you blame him? I don't know how he's being treated. But he bought dinner for some coworkers after the show. That's always nice.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah. It was probably just FDR.
Or was he you guys can have a couple slices of my pizza if you want it?
No, it was that one place. I don't know. Nanos, I don't know the name.
Malik Black, $2 saying AEW Backstage is more wild than the NXT parking lot.
It's up there. It's up there. It depends. Is CM Punk backstage or not? If CM Punk is backstage, then yes. If not, it's not more wild than the.
We need live feeds for these backstage, just like Big Brother does. We need live
Big Brother.
Feeds for the AEW backstage environment. I need it.
Do you think people would be more afraid of upsetting CM Punk if they had not seen his UFC career?
You know, they are afraid now. So if he...
That's why they're not afraid, because they saw his UFC career.
No, I'm saying that some people are actually seem pretty intimidated by him, but I get it because he does have a lot of ops. So maybe that is it. They think that they can take him, even Jungle Jack Perry.
I can't help but to just imagine Jungle Perry saying, do something about it.
That is a good analysis, though, Glenn. His UFC career has empowered a lot of people
I'm
to
just
stick up.
saying, like, if you saw somebody take a beating the way he did in UFC, and even during that documentary, like, not the most intimidating dude.
Yeah.
You know?
But he's a trained fighter.
I mean, technically, yes.
Glenn.
He's a trained fighter, but look, wins and losses matter. If you're a trained fighter and your fight record is 0-2, yes, you have technically been trained to fight. How effective it was is up to question. Just saying.
I want to see him shoot fighting because those are the top of the, or at least they're in the UFC level. I don't know how he'd fare against AEW wrestlers and shoot fights. And at this point, given how it's not going in a good direction with him as part of the locker room, just have him fight them for real.
Yes.
Get what you can out of this man. It's a fire sale. I don't know if you know it, but this is the fire sale era of CM Punk.
Let me ask you guys something. If you are the company owner, do you get rid of him? What do you do?
I've said this, and basically every take I've had about CM Punk has been right. I would have fired him I would have fired him midway to that tantrum that he cut in front. If I'm the owner and he does that to me, and this is just me, I'm petty, and so is Tony Khan, but I would have fired him in front of all the wrestling media right then and there before the fight, and I would have had him escorted by security so he doesn't fight anybody. This would have been done 1 year ago today.
What about you, Glenn? People in the chat, let me know what you would do.
I mean,
what
if I'm a billionaire.
You could book him in a series of shoot fights on TV. I don't know. I mean, it's just I think get everything you can at this point because the future, as Natasha Bedingfield said, the future is unwritten.
They're in way too deep. They have to just ride this thing till the wheels fall off, and the wheels will fall off, and it'll be very violent. But they're in too deep. They gave the guy his own show. They're doing these shows in Chicago. They're in way too deep with CM Punk.
Yeah.
They married the stripper.
But that honeymoon was passionate.
It was lit, man. It was lit.
Okay, let's talk about NXT tonight.
Logan Paul is triggered by that comment.
The dyad with
he got that late. He got that so late.
I had to think about it.
The dyad with Schism took on the Creed brothers in a steel cage match. And if the Creed brothers win, they're officially part of NXT again.
Why send them away?
I don't know. This was the weirdest storyline there's been a lot. Have you noticed this actually in NXT? There's been a lot of storylines that started and then just was no, we're not doing that. Or they just either forgot about it or undid it. It's been kind of, it wouldn't surprise me to find out that they changed writers in the last month or so.
Yeah, this does happen where this was basically what that storyline was with Kiana James and Fallon Henley and all that.
No, but at least they had
drama.
But at least there was a real resolution there.
Yeah.
A couple broke up, Alfred.
They eventually did kind of pay it off, but we never got to see who Sebastian was, and it was very cluttered. I didn't like it. Tony
D'Angelo went to jail only to get out of jail.
I mean, that's usually what happens unless you really commit a bad crime.
He's the Don of NXT. But this opening match was good. I think Creed, them being away for a little bit, made it better when they wrestled tonight. But Issa, what do you think of this?
They look badass. I love this match. He had for a story that I was going into, and I'm like, oh God, we're gonna get this match again. The steel cage intrigued me when I saw that being the first visual that we saw tonight. It's gonna be crazy because NXT does deliver in ring. But my God, this was really, really a lot of fun. It was fast moving. There was some crazy move. Brutus was on Hulk mode. Like, I have fun watching this entire team. I can't help but to wonder what I said. Why send them away? Why do this other half? Is it just to milk the storyline longer? I'm not sure. But the match tonight, it was lit. It was fun.
Yeah, I feel like they sent them away as a way to troll the internet because we think we know everything.
Yeah.
We've been reading the reports that the Dyad's on their way out, and they just wanted to stick it to us. And then after they did, they said, "Oh crap, we actually got to have an excuse as to how they come back." And that's why it kind of strong. I thought this match was awesome. I thought both Creed brothers looked like badasses in like 2-on-1 environments. Julius Creed was like so good. That one-arm powerbomb, which was all, I don't know which Dyad member, I always get them confused, but I don't know which one he powerbombed, but it was all him in terms of taking that one-arm powerbomb. That looked awesome. And I thought Julius looked like a badass. And then when Brutus came back, he looked like a badass. I thought this was a great welcome back party for the Creed brothers. This is really cool. Probably my favorite Creed brothers match.
And Malik Black, $2 saying Brutus getting kidnapped was hilarious, though. I mean, there were some good moments in the build to this. But look, Creed won. They were celebrating with Ivy Nile. The Diamond Mine lives on.
They're having a much better time than Roderick Strong right now. But
True.
shout out to Alicia, because the visual of him ripping up the cage door and then he started like hurting them with the cage door. Like, it was a fun opener. It was a fun opener. It was a great, and we had a fun closer too. They remember the beginning, they remember the end. NXT started and ended strong tonight.
Yeah. Hot opening match. Then we went Carmelo Hayes backstage with the family and the Street Profits, but they were distracted when they saw a brawl between Dana Brooke and Kalani Jordan and Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice, which spilled into the area.
I love seeing the Street Profits here.
It was good.
I'm hoping that they're here to scoop up Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, because I don't forget that Bobby Lashley mentioned them at the beginning of their partnership. So that's what I was hoping they were here to do. But yeah, I love their interaction with the D'Angelos, and this was fun. It's fun how they've been using main roster characters on NXT differently when they have them show up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kelvin with the $2 super chat saying the Creeds are the future of tag team wrestling. I think this time away, it gives them a nice soft reboot in NXT that could work well. Alfred, what were you saying?
Future of tag team and singles. I think both guys, and watching this, not that this is what I needed to see, but I think just if you watch this match, you'll see the potential both guys have as single stars, because they each kind of had to carry their own weight at one point in the match, and they were great in doing so. But I thought this was a good segment. I thought we were going to get some kind of resolution, like we were going to get a Street Profit challenge of a tag team title, or why they were there, or something like that. They just they were obviously interrupted, but that left us hanging as to what the Street Profits were doing. And it's weird because they're in this transitional phase where it's like they turn heel, or at least they attacked like they turn heel, and the announcers are saying that they have this new aggressive attitude, but they're still acting like baby faces. They still have the baby face entrance. It's going to be slow, but it's weird that we got the heel turn and now they're kind of going back to being baby faces.
Me and Jack and I discussed this because Jack said on Friday's show that if Bobby Lashley had not came out on SmackDown, you would completely forget that the Street Profits are doing a new role and playing a new character, because the way they came out and the way they wrestled was still the same. And it took Bobby Lashley coming out for you to go, oh yeah, they're paired up with Bobby Lashley. I need to see some kind of change in their attitude. But I mean, I enjoyed the segment, but like I said, I was hoping they would be down there to do business, right? They're part of Her Business 2.0. They still don't have a name, and try to scoop up somebody, whether it's Trick, whether it's Mello, but that's what I thought they were doing there.
Yeah.
So we had a Group A match qualifier for the NXT Global Heritage Invitational. The video package for this was quite good, spelling out Group A, Group B, who the contenders are, all competing for the Heritage Cup.
You know who's one of the contenders, Glenn?
Butch. 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for a loss.
No, you get a point for losing, which makes no sense.
No. You get 0 points for losing, 1 point for a draw. Same rules as this is a lowercase G1. This is a mini G1.
Okay, why did they get a round robin tournament? Why did the people that lost tonight get a point?
Who got? Well, that would be wrong in the way that you only get a point if it's a draw.
It's a weird system that doesn't quite make sense. Like, unless they're going to have the storyline be that one guy gets 2 draws and somehow gets 2 points to tie the win.
I'll tell you what doesn't make sense is how this is being called a global heritage invitational. It's more of a colonial heritage invitational. It's like NXT UK and Akira Tozawa. There's nothing really global about this. It's like saying that the royal family is global because Meghan Markle is there. It's a colonial heritage invitational, okay? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, as AJ Styles would say, we all live on this big flat globe together.
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
I thought they made this seem like a really big deal. Butch versus Charlie Dempsey, Drew Gulak and Damon Kemp was a good opener, I thought, to this. Butch getting the win. This could be kind of hot.
Yeah, we're gonna get some great technical wrestling matches. I'm just looking forward to the final when Noam Dar gets to compete again. But yes, very good technical wrestling matches.
Yes. And then Metaphor confronted Ilya Dragunov after.
How come he's not in this tournament? I feel like this is right up his alley. I mean, they basically got 8 Noam Dars in this, and 8 Ilya Dragunovs in this, and Ilya Dragunov doesn't get to compete.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But what happened with all this? Sorry, this is when my dinner order arrived.
That makes sense what Baby Ice is saying. They did, if you looked at the chart, the way they presented it on the screen, they put a 1 to mark the loss, which made it appear like they were giving a point. Like so but you know what? Like the entire Heritage Cup has been confusing. So why would the Invitational not be confusing as well? You know what I mean? But yeah, when you look at a graphic, they would put a 1. So that's where I guess I got that from.
So Ora Mensa came down and got in Dragunov.
I don't understand why anybody would voluntarily call off Dragunov unless you're just a masochist.
Yeah, I don't know. Ora Mensa, man.
It just seems like a really stupid idea.
My thoughts are with Ora Mensa. I am supporting him in his endeavor.
He's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, but it's stupid. It's stupid.
Well, Dana Brooke and Kalani Jordan took on Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice tonight, with Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice looking great, really gelling as a team and getting a win.
New favorite tag team.
Yeah, just in time.
Girls were killing it.
Just in time for there to be no NXT Women's Tag Team Championship.
Yeah, but also Chelsea and Sonya, who is Sonya and Piper Niven? They're not doing anything. So why not build some tag teams and maybe go back and forth? You have main roster people showing up on NXT. Why not? Not that because you do have tag teams that we don't know where the hell they're at, right? We're Alba Fire. You know how Ciampa has been doing the missing thing for Gargano. We need to do a missing thing for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I don't know if
they're
one
in
of
the
them
woods.
is injured. I don't know what's going on, but
witchcraft. Maybe they open through a portal. Maybe they open portal through time. You know.
Well, I just say I love them as a tag team. I thought they worked very great tonight.
Yeah, and Lola has a lot of supporters in the crowd. Very much over it. People very excited about Lola Vice. I like this match. I thought this is, I had very low expectations because the experience level is low, but they did just fine. I liked it.
Dana Brooke threw a fit. She was upset about losing tonight.
This Dana Brooke, people aren't giving.
By now.
I like this Dana Brooke character. I think she's gonna find her way. I really like the heel Dana Brooke character.
It would be amazing though if she was on a rant and she was like, "This is not happening again. This happened on Raw. This happened on SmackDown. I was told NXT was going to be different. Like, this is bullshit." Like, she should just snap. Actually, you know what would be really funny with Dana Brooke? If they did like a Truman Show thing and they were like, it's as if they're literally out to get me and everything is predetermined.
It's not bad. The Dana Show.
Yeah, and just like she goes into a match and she's like, I got it this time. And no matter what she does, she somehow just keeps losing. And she's like, it's like they decided I was going to lose before I even went in this match.
That also kind of sounds like the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, but yeah, that could be interesting. Like, she should just realize legitimately the odds are it's all stacked against her. It's all rigged. You know?
I mess with it.
Yeah. Calvin Alexander with a $5 super chat saying, Elektra and Lola, one is God intended, God is good.
Kelvin stays thirsty, man.
So, speaking of women's wrestling, can you believe on All In, the biggest attended wrestling event of all time, Tony Khan had the gall to only book one women's match on the card?
Yes, I can.
Barely booked it too.
It was the shortest match on the show.
Very short match. Paige, at least it had a happy ending. Paige and her
Good for
family. That was
Saraya.
good to see.
Yeah, that was
Coming
nice.
out to We Will Rock You. They gave her the pageantry and whatnot. But
The entrance was beautiful when she came out with the family.
That was great.
Loved
Yeah.
that.
Great moment. But with Mercedes, though, I'm not seeing people stoked about Mercedes, the potential for her going to AEW.
Why would you? Be
she did get a
stoked about
huge pop in the building in terms of the crowd liking her. But
Absolutely,
yeah,
no,
I would.
people love her.
They shouldn't
but
be.
yeah, it's like, yeah, unless they're going to drastically. And then this is the problem. You know why? Because if this happened a year ago, but we've been fooled so many times. They debut this beloved women's wrestler. Oh, everything's going to change. TK is finally getting it together, man. The women's division. He's really going to build that women's division. This is like your dad. This is like your dad being like, look, when I get that raise next year, then you'll get to go to summer camp. And she push back and push back and push back. You're never going to camp, kid. Don't trust that man. He's lying to you.
I don't see Mercedes showing up tomorrow, Dylan. I from what I heard, she still has a massive walking boot. That's what they only show her sitting in the audience. She's still recovering from that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, they gotta tease, build that anticipation. So
Yeah, you got to do a number with Mercedes in terms of when she's going to be there. It shouldn't be some surprise that they do for just a pop. And there should be a plan too, because maybe that is part of the problem, is that they just throw these women out as a surprise and they never had a plan to begin with. We need a plan in terms of who our opponents are going to be. When is she going to challenge for the title and all that kind of stuff? Because until further notice, AEW is where women's wrestling goes to die.
Yes. So, Trick Williams congratulated Carmelo Hayes on his win at Heatwave. And Williams says he talks to Street Profits, but a little bit of tension between Carmelo and Trick tonight.
that tension was built by Melo himself. Trick is still keeping it real. He just didn't want to finish listening to Trick's sentence.
Yes.
Do you think they're gonna run Dragunov and Melo again? Because that's what it feels like
yeah.
we're headed, right? Okay, I'm not mad at that.
Will Chisholm, $5, saying, do we really trust the AEW locker room and Tony Khan with Mercedes Moné and AEW?
I do not
No, we don't.
trust anyone in that locker room, especially based on what we've been hearing. CM Punk might step up to her. It could get messy.
As long as she doesn't bring glasses. If her eyeglasses are made of real glass, we might have a problem.
Dijak versus Eddie Thorpe. And did you notice they made like one offhanded reference to Hard Justice, but I feel like they've sunsetted that because of us and others that sort of ran that into the ground.
Like the TNA Hard Justice?
No, remember Dijak, like he's gonna dish out Hard Justice.
Oh,
and
yes.
there were lots of jokes made about how that sounds. So tonight it was very minimal. But look, the Eddie Thorpe era keeps going, even though Dijak won tonight. Eddie Thorpe is getting massively over.
Yeah. Biggest star in NXT right now.
Wait, who?
Eddie Thorpe.
Eddie Thorpe.
I
He's
feel
a
like
DJ.
We're being facetious.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
I like Eddie Thorpe.
I hope for the best for Eddie Thorpe, but
I
still
think
didn't care about him tonight.
Dijak is, yeah, like Dijak is just not connecting. I don't think Dijak's thing has ever worked.
I think Dijak is connecting, but I do think that Thorpe
Is he?
feels like backwards for him after the matches that he had. I don't think that Eddie Thorpe is up there for somebody. It feels the same way for Dragunov going against Oro Mensah next after the matches that we just saw them have. It just feels
Yeah.
like they're going back somewhere in the mid card where they just give them a match just to give them a match.
And then, what's with Von Wagner showing up talking about tabling Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker, makes his own t-shirt in response, like,
T-shirt worked. It triggers me every time I see it.
Spear of all in the business. He's not wrong, man.
I'm so glad you're leaving.
Number two, there's nothing wrong with having the second greatest spear in the business. It's a big business. And a lot of people who do the spear.
You're banned from Collision, Alfred.
I am going to start crying if we talk about watching this tribute to Bray Wyatt again. I saw this
Yeah, they keep showing it.
Friday on my travel delay back, and just like putting on my sunglasses, having an ugly cry in the middle of the airport in Denver. Like,
it's a great tribute. It's a really great tribute.
Great. This has still really affected me. I've been off social media largely. It's and the more details we get, it becomes harder to talk about. Just
I've shared on Twitter today that I feel like I've Googled is it normal to greet somebody you didn't know more times than ever, because it's being, this one effed me up in a way that it felt like family. Like it felt like somebody that I was really close to passed away. And the first time I saw the tribute, I was like, I cried on stream, which I have never done before. Like it really played up. Like it hit home. It hit home is the best way to say it. And man, I don't know that that's gonna be one that we're able to move on from anytime soon.
There was a grieving. This guy, Bray Wyatt, had such a strong connection with fans and media and anybody in wrestling, myself included, that when he was just abruptly taken away from us during the pandemic in terms of him losing his job, there was an uproar like nothing I've seen in terms of other people. And there were hundreds of people who lost their job during the pandemic. People were incensed that Bray Wyatt was taken from us. And so this was that times a billion in terms of just finding out and going through the grief, like literal denial for a very, very, very long period of time of me just checking everything to make sure that I don't know if this is real or not. So I got
a screenshot on my phone, and my first instinct was the Triple H screenshot. I got it a minute after he tweeted. I was doing something else, and my first instinct was to open Twitter and check Triple H's Twitter myself, thinking it was a hoax. Somebody was sending me a fake screenshot, and I'm reading it, and I still couldn't believe it. It's gonna be one of those "where were you when?" Like I'll never forget how I got pale. I had to sit down. I had to process. And you talk about the connection that he made with people. My first instinct was call my 68-year-old mother, because that's her favorite freaking wrestler. And I'm like, if she don't find out from me, she's gonna be upset, because obviously of what I do, but he's one of my favorites. I put Bray Wyatt in my top 10 of all time, forever. This has nothing to do with what happened this week. He's always been up there for me. And and you see this little kid dressed as the Fiend in shows, and he just talks about his range and the people that he's able to connect to and the people that he was able to bring in. I shared the story so many times this week, but I went and ran around WrestleCon in Dallas just for Bray. It was like I had the cash. I was like, this is the person that I will pay this money to meet. And I am not leaving WrestleCon until I have my Bray Wyatt interaction, which, a lot of times people say, take the picture, meet your heroes, do it, because I had that picture, and I had an incredible moment that me and him talked about horror films. It was not a character thing. It was not a nothing. We're just talking about scary movies, like two geeks. And I'll never forget, because the room that they had set up for him was empty. And I thought I had missed him. So I'm running around finding him, and I found him, and I'm freaking. Why is Jack Farmer here? He's stalking me now. I love you, Jack. I love you, Jack. But I'm running around thinking I missed. And then when I finally find him, I'm almost out of breath. Oh my God, I thought I missed you. He's like, no, I'm right here. Gave me a hug. He's known me his whole life. That is the kind of person that he was. And man, I just can't. But I'm glad he was acknowledged in every single show. And the tribute that they did, WWE are masters at that. Is so beautiful that it can be played over and over again, and you will watch it every single time and get sad, but also get joy. The moments, the feuds that this guy gave us in such a short period of time. I could sit here and talk about Bray Wyatt moments that I love for hours and not run out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, you want to talk about rewatching, and I think the Firefly Funhouse match is the greatest rewatch of any wrestling match, because every time you go back and watch it, you'll see something different, or it'll change the way you see the match. I can't tell you how many times I've rewatched the Firefly Funhouse match. A lot of the pandemic I spent rewatching that match.
They have it. They have it up.
Time
the
I
full
saw
match
something
is
new.
on YouTube. The full match is on YouTube. WWE has been doing such an excellent job. My first rewatch that I went back to is there's a one YouTube video is every episode of the Firefly Funhouse. That's what
nice.
I went and rewatched. WWE has put together, I think it's 2 playlists. It's all Bray Wyatt. I'm going through these weird stages of grief with this, where the first day I watched a few things and it was comforting. Now I can't watch it because I start crying. So I'm it's gonna take me some time to be able to go back and watch some of his stuff. But the Hell in a Cell match with Roman is one of my favorites. This is a throwback. The Anyone But You Roman feud was absolutely incredible stuff. And I love the Firefly Inferno match. I know that was pandemic wrestling, but the visuals that we got, because it was inside of the Thunderdome, like Randy RKOing a feet on fire, is a visual that is just something that you just never think you're gonna see. Like, man, I'm gonna try to be happy because it happened, but every time that I think I'm never gonna see that entrance again, like I get choked up. Like, it's crazy.
I think it's important that WWE is extending this tribute, and this isn't to take anything away from any legend or Hall of Famer or WWE figure who has passed away, and obviously fans grieve their loss and have fond memories. But with Bray being so well known to people that are watching, I mean, known to everyone that is watching current wrestling, this is very hard. And I think about younger fans that are seeing this and processing it, and it's really sad. I mean, this is, a huge loss, one of the most creative minds ever in the history of the business. Terrible tragedy, with his health problems and
his babies
passing away. I know, and his children. I mean, it's really sad, and I'm glad they're taking this extra time because, if you look at the faces of the roster that were out there Friday, I mean, you could see it. Like, this wasn't just their coworker, this was their friend, and it's just hard to really fathom that loss.
Yeah.
The one thing that we're really getting out of this is people, not just the roster, because Becky Lynch shared a beautiful story about Bray last night. But there's also fans coming out. There's a screenshot of a fan that had a conversation with him and how he gave her advice when she was going through depression. Like, there's so many things coming out that we had no idea. He was a beautiful person in and out, and it's a devastating loss.
Absolutely. Oh, man. See, now I don't want to talk about the next match.
It's hard. It's very, very hard.
I know. Joe Coffey with Gallus versus Nathan Frazier in a Group B match for the NXT Global Heritage Invitational.
Yeah.
Very good technical wrestling match.
Alfred, you said that about the first one.
Yeah, that's all these are. That's all these are. It's a Colonial Heritage Invitation. They do technical wrestling, no stories. That's all it is.
It's because he's leaving now. He's phoning it in.
Alfred, this is your version of this is your version of Matt Morgan's. Like, I can watch these guys wrestle all day. You know,
this will be my analysis for every Colonial Heritage Invitational match, which basically is repeating the same wrestlers. Duke Hudson and Akira Tozawa are the two that I want to win. But these are good technical wrestling matches. There's nothing else that I have to say about these matches.
Ask me, Glenn. Ask me.
What did you think of this match?
It was a good technical wrestling match.
Wow, what a great take. God, I didn't even think to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, tough placement in the show. I think that the metaphor Noam Dar storyline has been very good.
Yes.
And made the Heritage Cup storyline interesting, but I don't think that. I don't know. I almost wonder that they mistake the success of that storyline with interest in the Heritage Cup when it's really Noam Dar's antics that have sold it.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's all Noam Dar, and because they had 2 Heritage Cups, and I mean, they are showcasing Noam Dar with the storyline where he's got his own lounge, and so we're getting a lot of Noam Dar.
Yeah. Malik Black saying, hope Nathan Frazier is okay.
Yeah, that was scary. He hit the ropes and his neck kind of snapped back, and that was very scary. And the referee checked on him for a while, so he was able to continue and finish the match, but he might have gotten a stinger or something like that, but I hope he's okay.
Yeah, no, hope so. Joe Coffey won that. Oh, and then Thea Hale is hanging out with JC Jane, who's a bad influence, getting her to cut class from Chase U.
See, now this Chase U storyline is the opportunity to troll the CM Punk drama. Is that Thea Hale is a CM Punk malcontent who's getting into fights with the other students, isn't getting along with people. They suspend her. They have to give her her own class because she can't get along with her. There's a million things you can do with this Thea Hale storyline and mimic CM Punk.
So wait, is JC Jane Ace Steel?
Yeah, absolutely. She's throwing chairs at Duke Hudson and hurting his eye.
Biting people? Is she biting people?
Yes. You know it. They need a dog. They need a dog mascot to chase you.
And we name him Harry.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm telling you.
My favorite thing was two cuts on trying to still defend Tia. Like, well, she's never missed a class. I'm sure it's okay if she misses one. And like, Andrea Chase is like, shut up.
I didn't know where they were going with Duke mouthing along and trying to do the math on the Heritage Cup.
How did he not know he was Australian?
No, but that was funny because it sounds like it, but then he goes, I thought you were New Zealand, which is a very good excuse because very similar accents.
So that was very entertaining. And then we had the Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match for the NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez versus Blair Davenport versus Gigi Dolan versus Kiana James. Alfred, what did you think of this match?
I thought it was great, man. I thought it was all action. I feel like Roxanne Perez is going to go heel, and I would be all for it. I think it'd be weird because she's so small, but she does a very good job with her facials, kind of similar to what Wes Lee is doing as a heel in terms of just kind of being more whiny. But I thought this match was excellent. I thought there was just nothing but action from the opening bell. They all did a great job. I liked it. And I was very surprised that Kiana James won. That's going to be a very weird pairing because these are two of the biggest, Kiana James isn't even a cool heel. These are two traditionally bad heels in terms of bad guys. And I don't know how they're going to navigate this. I don't know if Kiana's going to turn face.
Yeah.
I love this match. I thought everybody looked great here. Everybody got to show off. I'm with you. We're seeing a different side of Roxanne. I'm also like, Blair is just growing on me every single time I see her out there. Just very shocked by the winner. And I was even like asking everybody in my chat, like, oh, who do you got? And I tell you, nobody said Kiana, nobody. But I was critical of the fact that I feel like in the last feud that we put Tiffany in, people ended up liking Tia more. And that feud did more for Tia than it did for Tiffany. And I feel like we got to do damage control with Tiffany. And I feel like, hey, Tiffany beating Kiana it might help get her back to, because I do think that I think that if it's a feud for Tiffany to continue her reign, then I'd rather her beat Kiana, and I think more people will be in the side of Tiffany, even though you're not supposed to technically because she's heel, but this is a heel versus heel. I think this will get people to root for Tiffany and get her back in the track that we were at before the Tia Hale feud.
What if it turns out Kiana James is the daughter
of the daddy?
Yes, of Tiffany Stratton's boyfriend.
Daddy, say daddy. He's not boyfriend.
I'm not
daddy.
saying that.
But there's two completely different things.
I refuse
and a
to
daddy,
say that.
Glenn.
I will say her sugar daddy. How about that?
No, just daddy. Because she wouldn't say with sugar daddy. She'll say my daddy.
What if Sebastian is the daddy? What if we're coming full circle?
Ooh, yeah. Interesting. Remember like that?
What if they are both like? Oh my God, what if they're both the sugar babies of the same daddy? Kiana has a lot of money. We don't know where this money is coming from.
Kiana is a businesswoman.
Yeah, that's why she makes us things. A lot of us like to keep our sugar daddies behind closed doors. People don't need to know about it. So I own this business. It's all money laundering for the money the sugar daddy's giving you.
Why do you need to launder the money? You don't need to launder the money. It's a gift. The IRS doesn't tax it.
I don't know.
That
way the sugar daddy doesn't think that he's providing you with everything, so that way they don't think you're dependent on them. Yeah, Glenn, you don't know how to play this game, bro.
No, I don't. I'm a 47-year-old man. I've never looked into the
finer. You've never had a sugar mama?
It's been a dream, but I told this story before that I heard David Lee Roth's version of Just a Gigolo when I was like 8 years old, and I was like, tell me more about this gigolo lifestyle. I'm curious.
Yeah, look into it.
Yeah. But no, I think there's a lot of story potential here. I was gonna say, remember that month where Gigi Dolan was a babyface?
No,
I do.
Yeah, it's good times.
It was fun while it lasted. Well, if you're gonna turn Kiana James into a babyface, they could do it by having her invest all that money in underserved Black communities. I think that would be a very easy way to have her.
I'm with it. I'm with it. If she's a babyface, if she's a heel, this is going to be like
gentrification.
It's going to be like Wyclef and Haiti, allegedly.
Oh man, you're making her all the way heel.
Allegedly.
What the hell?
But no, actually, gentrification storyline would be pretty good too.
Oh God, that's what they need. When they're ready to heat her up, if she's ready to be a champion, they do a gentrification storyline. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and you know, Road Dogg is like, what do you mean? Gentrification's awesome. Like, I don't get why this makes her a heel. Yeah, she's a businesswoman trying to give the people what they want.
They just need to work harder.
And then Joe Gacy gets involved.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Kelvin Alexander, $5 super chat saying Kiana's very talented. A loss won't kill her heat.
Correct.
They seem to be saving Gigi and Blair for something later. What is up with Stevie Turner? Is she NXT Anonymous? Miles Bourne is getting a match. We saw that in the NXT Anonymous account tonight.
Oh, that's who that was? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Miles Turner.
Maybe her streaming career took off. Maybe she's doing like more IRL stuff now, so she don't have time to come to the performance center because she's doing the Fusi tube stuff, like, you know.
She's out touching grass. She logged off. She's in real life.
Ooh, Riggs Oil has a good point. Maybe Kiana James is laundering money for stacks.
Oh,
I don't hate it. I love me an interconnecting storyline. So
love interconnecting storylines. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Oh, it sounds like Stevie's injured, so I don't. You know, we do have a.
How'd she get injured? She's like, what?
well,
like
she could be NXT Anonymous.
She has carpal tunnel.
Oh,
maybe it was from streaming.
Yeah.
You can get injured from streaming.
I'm sorry, no Stevie Turner. I hope you get well soon. You're the future of NXT, but that'd be a good storyline explanation, you know?
Yeah, she was doing one of those streams where you do dumb stuff for donations, and then like that should be the storyline. Like Phil broke a leg or something. Like, it'll be hilarious. It's not actually funny. I'm sorry.
No,
I didn't mean it that
injuries
way.
are never funny. We hope that she recovers, and we expect her back better than ever.
You
But
get the point.
hypothetically, I agree with what you're saying.
So Kiana James, new #1 contender, had a face-off with Tiffany Stratton at the end of this episode.
Sugar Daddy in a pole match coming. Right?
Yeah, let's go.
And it's flipping it because the sugar daddy's on the pole.
Yeah.
This is what it said in, like, this is going to be interesting because you got these two massive heels and the crowd has no idea what to do. Like, should we be cheering? Should we be booing one of them? And it's like literally the two biggest heels, I would say, in terms of their character in NXT.
Yeah. And then the cliffhanger was Carmelo knocking on HBK's door.
He didn't knock. He went right in.
He just went in. Sorry. He figuratively knocked on his door.
What if there was something going on in there?
What would be going on in there, Issa?
Oh, Jesus Christ. We're going to get canceled.
Let's all go out together.
No, just because you're leaving doesn't mean we don't want our job.
Come on, let's blow this thing up.
No, I mean, like, what if he was having a meeting or something, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the worst thing he could have possibly interrupted.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. It's interesting that Carmelo is the champ because I feel like, oh, and then we got the video message from Wesley who's just taking some time to.
Why was he in the desert?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I love NXT. It was a weird. This was a weird episode tonight. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, NXT. It's just it's. There's no other wrestling show that I watch that I even have these stupid jokes or hypotheses or you know what I mean. Like we can't sit there. Like on SmackDown, it's literally like, well, with the bloodline, what if this happens? And that's pretty much the story. Oh, wait, shit. We forgot to talk about the thing that made me laugh the most tonight. And that was the Los Lotharios.
Oh, God.
The
Holy
abuse.
shit. Holy shit. That was weird. So one of them had a dream and woke up with like blood on his chest. And the other one knocked on the door. And he was like, oh, I had a dream of my father. He's like, I had the same dream. Yeah, but I had these marks here. And then he pulled back his shirt to show he had the same scratch marks on his chest.
First of all, they didn't show the scratch marks, so they just showed him waking up with blood in the bed.
Yeah, I know. And I was gonna be like, did he murder somebody? Like, I really thought this could have gone in some interesting directions, and it went in a ridiculous direction. It was amazing.
Amazing. I thought it reminded me of the movie Quarantine, where they would like get bit by a rat, and then like, yeah, that's what I thought. Like, we're getting some Wolverine. Or if they don't start turning into werewolves when they return, I'm going to be upset.
See,
Well, it's their new logo. Their new
it's
logo is
weird that they like it. I think this would be a good way to like the way they did it.
Oh my God, they
imprinted everybody.
They imprinted on each other.
Did they? I don't know. Are they like pop?
Yeah, like
What do you call the cats?
like the werewolves on Twilight. They imprinted on each other. Oh, that's beautiful.
What is that called when cats have to be together? Like paw print?
bonded
paw.
pair. Bonded pair.
But isn't there's a paw thing to it, isn't it? Is that what
No,
they are?
it's
They're like a
called
bonded.
They
a bonded
scratch
pair.
each other to bond.
I don't know that that's a thing. It's like Blood Brothers, which you know, I have to admit there were some diseases that made the rounds in the 80s, kind of killed the whole Blood Brothers phenomenon. As a little kid, in every other movie, it was like, oh, I'm cutting my hand, cutting her. Now we're blood brothers. We're bonded for life. And then in the mid 80s, something happened where maybe that's not the smartest idea, kids.
As soon as you said that, all I could think of is Alan cutting his head in The Hangover. Brothers.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna cut myself.
Go back and watch anything from the 70s, and you would think that like that was the highest way that two men could bond was becoming blood brothers.
Well, they imprinted.
And their cousins. So can't they be blood brothers? Think about it.
I mean, in Twilight, this wolf imprinted with a baby. Or maybe that's the story. Maybe they're not related at all, and because they imprinted on each other, that's how they figure it out.
Well, the Malik is saying the granddad ghost is who scratched them. That's what I
Yeah, that is child abuse, is what I think is going on. But
I like
think
granddad ghost. That's a good character.
It would be a much better story if, like, one by one, different wrestlers in NXT had scratches on them. They didn't know who did it. Not that these two relatives have scratches and they like it and they're all happy that they're bleeding.
There's a mad scratcher.
The scratches made no sense.
It's like a literal animal.
Calvin R. Alexander, $5 saying Ariana Grace is cleared to resume ring action. Anna Kiefer, aka Big Ange, is as well.
Thank you for
That's good. We always love that. They're werewolves. They're definitely werewolves that imprinted on each other because this is
I would like that.
Wait, so are they going to change their name to literally like Los Lobos? Oh, and then WWE didn't bother to search the trademark, and they didn't realize there's a band with that name.
No, they absolutely should.
Well, they'll name it Los Lobotarios.
Oh, Los Lobotarios.
I hope they go all the way supernatural with this. They shouldn't reel this in. Like, now we've gone off the beaten path.
They better have Michael Jackson end of Thriller music video eyes next week.
Yes.
Oh like, I need to see this transformation, and then they stop shaving, and like all the body hair starts like, oh my God, it's gonna be great.
Hey, Halloween is in about a month, just over a month. This should build to Thriller.
Like,
yeah.
This segment, if you have a friend, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't watch NXT, I want you to show them. No, I want you to show them this segment and there's a professional wrestling show that is watched by 500,000 people a week, and they put this on the air, and this is a fucking storyline on NXT. Why aren't you watching this insane show?
Yeah.
I love NXT. This is amazing that they do things like this.
So now, for continuity's sake, every time we see them, they're going to have these scratches in the exact same place every single time.
That's tough, man. That's commitment, you know?
They're going to like paint them on, and so during their matches, they're going to sweat, and it's going to start smearing everywhere.
Unless every week the freaking ghost granddad scratches them in a different spot.
No, but okay, they should have more wounds then. That's not how scratches work, where they disappear when you get a new one.
After All In, I'm good without seeing blood in wrestling for a while. Like, good Lord.
Yes. Those are hours of blood. It's the Stadium Stampede match alone, which I thought was the best match of the show.
I loved that match. I had so much fun watching it. But I like violence.
I hear you're a fan.
Yep. Not a werewolf, though.
Wait, did Pillman start with NXT? Is that confirmed?
I don't know.
No, I haven't seen
all,
him.
All I see in the news is CM Punk. So if it was confirmed, he got lost in the CM Punk show.
I think that's why, Alfred, I'm telling you, this is like maybe not $1 million. This is like a $10,000 idea to just start a CM Punk dedicated website, podcast, news updates, and that way, like, we don't have to have it infiltrate every other piece of wrestling news.
Why would we want to talk about CM Punk for a whole hour? At least here we can just...
No, Alfred could do an hour every day.
All day, every day.
Alfred don't want to be here.
I'm gonna have a CM Punk. It's gonna be like CNN, but with CM Punk. It'll be the
Alfred
same.
doesn't go here no more. He doesn't even go here.
He's just very hurt by this decision.
I am.
I have one more class, and then I don't go here. Unfortunately.
There you have it. Well, tune in Friday. Tune in tomorrow.
Alfred, does it bother you that Glenn is not like bother at all? Like at least I'm showing
upset.
some hurt.
It's
Glenn was crying
not
off
real
air.
yet. It's not real yet. It'll be real Friday.
Yeah, this is see you
Okay.
later. Yeah, it'll be real Friday, and I'll be back. I'll still be in your guys' lives, whether you want me there or not.
Okay. Gotta come out to Vegas, man. Provided
Oh,
there's
for
not
sure.
another
So
COVID
that's how
wave.
we got rid of him. Was like if he quits the show, we don't talk to him anymore. Anyways.
You can't quit me.
I wish I knew how to quit you. Oh my god. Garza and Humberto. Anyways. Glenn, wrap it up.
I'm wrapping it up. Everybody, tomorrow night, tune in for AEW coverage, the fallout from All In, and Friday, you're not going to want to miss it. Alfred Konuwa's last podcast on Wrestling Inc. with myself and Issa covering SmackDown. Everybody, have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast.
Love you guys.
Bye.